This is the City of Tarpon Springs Board of Adjustment meeting of Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. The time is now 6:30 p.m. and I call this meeting to order. Madam Secretary, would you please do a roll call of the board members?
Mr. Fuchs? Here. Mr. Wood? Mr. Wood?
Here.
Ms. Turner?
Present.
Mr. Grossman?
Here.
And Ms. Reich is absent.
Okay, thank you. All right. We do not have our normal 5 members here. So the applicant does have the right to postpone being heard this evening until we do have a full 5 members. If the applicant is here, do you wish to go forward with the 4 members? We do have a quorum. 3 would be a quorum. We would like to go forward. Okay. All right. And then, okay. And then, City Attorney, would you please read the quasi-judicial announcement and procedures, and then please swear in any witnesses that will be testifying this evening.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. This is a quasi-judicial proceeding where the Board of Adjustment acts in a quasi-judicial rather than legislative capacity. At a quasi-judicial hearing, it is not the board's function to make law, but rather to apply law that has already been established. In a quasi-judicial hearing, the board is required by law to make findings of fact based upon the evidence presented at the hearing and apply those findings of fact to previously established criteria contained in the Code of Ordinances in order to make a legal decision regarding the application before it. The board may only consider at this hearing that the board may only consider evidence at this hearing that the law considers competent, substantial, and relevant to the issues. If the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates that the applicant has met the criteria established in the Code of Ordinance, then the board is required by law to find in favor of the applicant. By the same token, if the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates that the applicant has failed to meet the criteria established in the Code of Ordinance, then the board is required by law to find against the applicant. Does anybody intend to testify this evening? Would you please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that your testimony this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Oh, she's on.
Testify, I mean, I'd like to speak and be heard, but is that what you mean?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
I also.
Okay, if you, just real quick, if I could get you to stand and raise your hand. No, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in these proceedings this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, so at this time, I am calling up item number 25-66, Weiwei, I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly, variance to reduce the required rear yard setback for the purpose of expanding a screen enclosure with a solid roof, and the location is 751 Salt Lake Drive. And would the city staff member please present this item now?
Sure. Allie Keene, Principal Planner at the Planning and Zoning Department. The subject property is outlined in red here on the screen. It's off of Salt Lake Drive. The property, as well as all surrounding properties, are in the RPD Residential Plan Development Zoning District. Specifically, it's the North Lake Single Family Residential Subdivision Plan Development. There is some mobile home park zoning to the north of the site. The applicants are here this evening requesting a variance approval to reduce the required rear yard setback, and this is for the purpose of extending their existing screen enclosure with a solid roof on the back side of the home. The requirement is 20 feet, and they're requesting a setback of 16 feet. This is a look at the proposed site plan, and I'll walk you through all of my colors and markups here in just a moment. Typically with a planned development, when they go through the approval process, each development has, establishes their own setbacks as they go through that process. Specifically for the North Lake development, for properties that have at least 120 feet in depth, that minimum rear setback is 20 feet. Again, they are proposing to have a setback of 16 feet for the expansion area, and that is the blue dotted line here on the screen. One thing I'll point out is the rear property line of the subject site is not a straight line. It's actually angled, and it angles inward towards the center of the property to a point here. So on this drawing, all of my measurements may not look like they're going to the closest point of the property, but the setbacks and all the numbers are measured to the closest point. So when you do measure a setback, it's from the structure to the closest point of a property line. So I just wanted to provide that clarification as I move forward. So for some comparisons, the existing setbacks of the property, the existing screen enclosure, which is the orange line here on the screen, is at 18 feet. The existing roof lanai, or the covered portion of the screen enclosure, is approximately 39 feet. And then the existing home at its closest point here is about 27 feet. The Land Development Code, as you know, does have specific setbacks for pools and screen enclosures that have a screen roof. In that section of the code, it allows a screen enclosure with an open screen roof to be as close as 5 feet to the rear property line. So this is why the existing enclosure is permitted to be closer than 20 feet. And it's important to note that if the proposed expansion didn't have a solid roof, it would be permissible under our current code without variance approval in this current configuration and layout. When zooming out and looking at the context of the property, it is a waterfront lot backing up to Salt Lake. So there are no residential lots directly behind the property. As I mentioned, the property line does have an angle that goes inward to the rear yard of the property. This is the only lot that I found in this subdivision that does have this situation of the rear lot line. There's also an existing upland preservation area here in green, as well as a wetland preservation area in blue that go along the rear of the property. The upland preservation areas ranges about 5 to 6 feet along the rear property. However, both of these preservation areas do not count towards or aren't taken into consideration when measuring a setback. When you're strictly applying the setbacks, it's only from a property line to a structure, not outside the property. Some other considerations, one being the existing footprint of the home. As I mentioned earlier, the rear setback of the house in the area where they're looking to expand the enclosure is at 27 feet. So this would potentially allow for them to expand the enclosure with a solid roof without a variance approval. They have about 7 feet to work with. The applicants indicated that they would like to put a hot tub in this area, and their contractor stated that the proposed size in that area extends a little over 10.5 feet, is for adequate space around the proposed hot tub, and it also allows for the posts and the footings to be installed without disturbing their existing pool. So any sort of redesign of the enclosure would need to take into consideration the existing pool layout so that there wouldn't be any sort of damage or cause any impact to that. Lastly, as we know, our comprehensive plan was recently updated, so staff is now working on doing some updates to the Land Development Code in response to that. One thing we are looking at are setback requirements for covered screen enclosures. Over the years, this has been a common issue. It has resulted in a lot of variance requests that I'm sure you all are familiar with. And this is really because residents have a desire to have shaded outdoor spaces. Because we have seen a lot of variances come before the board, staff felt it was an important item to take a look at as we do these updates. We have started doing this review. However, we have not finalized what those potential changes are, nor have they moved forward to the Board of Commissioners for approval. Because of this, you may have noticed that staff did not do a formal recommendation on this application. However, if the board does choose to approve the request this evening, we do recommend having a condition attached to the request or the approval, and that is that the area under the solid roof may not be altered to form an enclosed or conditioned living space unless it meets the North Lake RPD residential minimum setbacks. And with that, here are your variance criteria, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Does the board have any questions for the city staff?
Yes, sir. Ms. Keene, can you go back to your There you go. To your color-coded one. Just want to make sure that we're all on the same page with our colors, and thank you very much for this. So, trying to remember what you were saying as well, if this was well, because this is going to be a solid roof extension, that you were saying that there wouldn't be the need for the variance in the first place if it was, trying to find the page that you said, I think it was the next page that you had set it on. Yes, that the rear setback of a home of 27 feet allows for extension with the solid roof without a variance. Can you explain that with the colors here?
Sure. So again, the minimum setback is 20 feet in this subdivision. So the existing home is at 27 feet to the closest point. The angles kind of make it a little more challenging. In some areas, it's a little further, but at the closest point, it's 27 feet. So potentially, they could pull in the expansion and extend it up to 20 feet away and have a solid roof. That wouldn't necessarily require a variance approval. They also could potentially do partly solid, partly open screen. That's not usually desirable in this particular situation. But there are potentially ways that you could modify it to meet that. One consideration that the contractor did bring up were the placement of the footings in the roof, and I will point out that the covered portion, they are matching the gable of the roof. They're doing a shingle roof, it's not a pan roof. So the footings are also to help support that, and that was also part of the consideration for the sizing. But there are potential ways that they could pull it in to meet the code.
So the proposed requested solid roof section is the blue dotted line?
Correct, yes.
Gotcha. And the problem is, it's this, I see the 16 foot at that smallest part. It needs to be 20 for us not to be sitting here today.
Right, and in some portions of it may be at 20 feet.
Right, because of the unique angle.
Correct.
Gotcha, but you have to, in following the laws, look at that the closest point of that property line, which I see is where that tip comes in.
Correct.
Okay,
And I would have to look at the survey really to verify if it's at 20 feet, but there may be areas.
of course. And then it also, like you were saying, the provision would be if they were to, whatever size it may be with or without a variance, if there is a solid roof, they would still be prohibited from enclosing it, putting up walls, making it an actual livable space.
That's our recommendation for a condition. Typically, once there's a solid roof over, the roof is what kicks them into meeting their district or their subdivision setbacks. The open screen, they get to follow the screen enclosure setbacks. So once there's a solid roof there, there's a variance for that setback. So potentially in the future, it may not even be the current applicant, someone could come in and want to enclose it. They're already at that setback, and so we would like to,
Put that condition in,
Right.
like we've done before with conditionals. Go ahead, Mr. Wade, because I know I have other questions.
Quick question.
Yes.
Two quick questions, maybe not. So if they want to if they screen it in and don't go with a solid roof, they're fine?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. And we know that things might change, but at this time, they haven't changed, hence why we're here.
Yes.
And I know we've gotten some things that came in that have some wording that would rather not this happen. They mentioned that there's already been variances denied. Do we have that on record, or have those been fact checked?
I don't have the information on that. I did try to do some research on the past variances. I did find that there was a variance request for one of the properties. I can't verify denial or approval. I didn't have the time to look at that at the time that these came in. But I will mention that, as you know, each variance that comes in is looked at individually based off of a property. It is not a precedent-setting item. You have to look at it individually based off of the property, based against your criteria set before you, because it really is based off of the hardship of the property.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Fuchs, anything?
I'm good.
Okay. I do have some questions as well. And one of them, I think, more is for the city attorney. And I'm interested to know which takes precedence, because we did receive 2 other letters from residents, and in one of the letters, it made mention of the HOA, that they have some rules and regulations in regards to this as well. But this is here before us, and we do not know from the documentation that we have if the HOA was contacted and gave approval or did not give approval. I'm interested to know who would take precedence in this situation. Would the city take precedence, or would the HOA take precedence?
So there's separate proceedings. So I don't know that it's even necessarily a matter of precedence as much as the board makes its ruling, and then we're obviously not privy to the HOA agreement and their rules and everything. So that's a separate thing that the applicant would have to proceed with and satisfy as its own set of proceedings, if you will.
So our decision does not affect the HOA's ability to make some decision of their own?
Depending on their rules, they could, it would in theory shut them down still, even if we allow them to proceed.
Okay.
Or even if you allow them to proceed, I should say.
All right, so to follow up on that, so we, as a city, we don't need to contact the HOA in any way to proceed with our...
Oh, no, there's no duty or obligation on behalf of the city to do so.
Okay, and I do have some questions additionally in regards to the property here. So the orange line, is that representing the current? Okay.
Yes.
So if they were to put a solid roof on that orange line, would they need a variance?
To cover the entire thing, yes, because it's at 18 feet.
Okay, so
Currently.
any solid roof anywhere on that would need a variance?
Not anywhere. If the solid roof was up to 20 feet away, they could do it. If they met their
Oh, I see,
setback.
that
yeah.
orange line is not 20 feet away.
Yeah, this is 18 feet. In theory, if they wanted to go and leave 2 feet open, that would be permissible.
So,
A lot of fine lines here.
I got it. So we're 18 feet in the shortest distance to the existing pool enclosure now. If it were 2 more feet, they could put a solid roof without a variance.
2 less feet.
Sorry. If
Okay,
they were, if
I'll
it
rephrase,
was,
I'm sorry, I confused you. So if there were,
2 feet
let's
to the
say they
left,
cut
if
2
you will.
feet in, if it was 2 feet less, shorter, and it was 20 feet to the property line, so if the pool enclosure was 20 feet to the property line, would they be allowed to put the solid roof there without a variance?
yes,
So they could, so for most of what they have there, they could do the solid roof without a variance.
Yes.
So the part that we're really looking at is there's 2 feet, it looks like, from the blue line to the orange line for half of it. So that's a 2-foot difference. And then on the bottom there, that's a 10-foot difference.
10 feet away from the current roof line, it's still, give or take, about the same 2 feet. It's a 4-foot deviation from what they're required to do overall, because they're going to 16 feet.
Oh, I see. So the 10-foot, 8 inches from the house, that didn't have the property line considering. So it's really a 4-foot, we're talking about a 4-foot difference. Okay. And then if they did, just to clear up, because I think I heard it, but the hearing aids. I just want to make sure that if there was no roof on this at all, they would not need a variance at all in the way that they want to do it now.
Correct, yeah. If there's no solid roof and it was just an open screen, they could do it how it's proposed. In theory, it could go up to 5 feet away from their rear property line. And that applies to anyone.
All right. We have 5 standards that we always go by. And the city normally makes a recommendation by using those standards to, help us, give us another opinion. We did not do that in this case. And from what I understand is that this situation is under review in the Land Development Code that would alleviate us sitting here tonight, probably looking at it to ease up, because we've had several of these. So does that, the reason that the
It
city
potentially
offered no?
could. It potentially could. It just depends on what the final allowances would be. I'll say, as we're going through our review, we're really taking a look at our current yard encroachment section. There's a section in the code that allows for example, front yard porches to extend so far into your setbacks, or balconies in the side yard. There's allowances for decks to, like elevated decks to go into your rear yard. So we're taking a look at what those current allowances are and seeing how they could potentially be applied. Probably the most relevant one that we have is our front porch allowance, and that can be a covered front porch, and that's something that allows it to extend up to 10 feet into a front porch, but no closer than a certain distance to a property line. So with that said, because these changes are potentially coming, and in the near future, we felt that we just want to provide you all the information, and we wanted you guys to make a decision based off the criteria and the evidence provided tonight, and then let you go from there.
Okay. All right, and looking at this, it looks like it's leaning towards an approval of it in most of the instances here in reading this. I guess that's more of a statement than a question, so sorry about that. All right, let's see if I have, I think there was one or two more I had. Property line. Okay, and yes, in one of these, one of the reasons for the situation was that the rear property line angled in versus just going straight across.
Yeah, staff felt that that was one potential physical hardship on the property to take into consideration, is that it provides some difficulty in measuring or a difference than other properties in the surrounding area.
Okay.
Kind of like, if I may, that the way with the leaning in of the odd point, I know we've had applications before us before that, thinking of that triangle lot on Tallahassee?
Shore Drive?
I think
Yeah,
it-
Shore,
right.
Tallahassee, yeah.
Where it was needing the variance because of the, shape of the lot, had the requested addition had like the corner, like a little triangle of a corner poking out, if you will. So to clarify, we are talking just the covered roof, which is not what's existing of the whole screen. And if I may, to help us clarify, there were some points in a couple letters from residents, one of which referenced impacting their view. Maybe if we could, I know you usually have a slide that has the neighborhood view of several, there we go. Let's see if we can find the address. Did you have any other questions?
Was that the 787 one?
Right, maybe it was 787.
I don't
Trying
want
to
to
get
point
an
out the
idea
wrong
of which home that would be and how that view would be.
I'm not, the applicant might be able to provide more information
Right.
on that.
It's 780
And/or maybe
yeah,
members
it's
of the public.
787. It's in the packet here. Here you go.
Okay.
No, this one.
That one, okay. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, it disappeared.
So that home there is concerned about the view? The white roof one?
Yeah, it
Okay.
keeps disappearing.
Which one was 787?
It's right here.
That one?
Lot 46.
White roof at the top,
That's 787?
apparently so.
Okay.
Okay.
If I may, for a point of clarity, so when we were talking about the, whatever you want to call it, concave version or whatever of that lot, so based on this, I don't know what you want to call it, document here, is that it's 1.5 feet, right? From like the south end to the, whatever the first notch that comes out, it's 1.5 feet of a variation. So we're talking about like the lot line not being straight, it's by six, whatever, 18 inches.
Any more questions from the board for the city? No?
No, that's fine.
Maybe?
Maybe later.
Maybe later.
Survey, that's the word I was looking for.
Okay. So at this time, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
At this time, I would like to call up the applicant to make their presentation if they wish to do so. When you get to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. And also, when you're finished making your presentation, please stay at the podium in case the board members have any questions for you.
Say your name.
Just wait, just wait. Richard Weiwei, 751 Salt Lake Drive in Tarpon Springs.
I'm Pat Weiwei, 751 Salt Lake Drive, Tarpon Springs.
Address a few, she sort of stole all my thunder on this. As to the HOA, we have sort of changed management companies, but when we first called them, they said you should get the variance first, then go to the HOA, because if you can't get a variance,
It's a moot point.
it's a moot point. We had a couple of other items, the same thing that happened around our property. The blue line does show, and the reason for it, because of the shape of our pool, that upper corner column is required just to hold it up, and we had to move it out because of the pool. Otherwise, we'd have to take out the whole pool to do it. It is only going to be a hard-covered roof. There's no sides, because we're just looking for some outdoor space to put a kitchen and a jacuzzi. And if you look at some of the drone photos we gave you, you can see that there's nobody, and I actually took pictures from the sideline also going up. You'll see some flags that look up. There's nobody that would be blocked at all from being able to see the lake from this extension.
These are your drone?
Yes.
Okay.
We did indicate which is our house and which is the one who wrote the letter, which is around the point.
But even from there, our next house over has a bunch of trees which block all the view. If you're looking sideways, blocks the view, you have trees. Then the house next to it has a pool cage that goes out. So there's really nobody that blocks. And then the neighbor on the other side, he's blocked by trees. Trees.
So, looking at this picture that you took, it's the overhead where your house is kind of in that bottom right.
Yes.
Where you were showing it, and you can see the pool. So it looks like probably like the area where you have some steps on your pool, where it just kind of juts out a little bit, the closest end to your proposed roof addition. Help me out here on this blue dotted lines, the top one, which would be, so that if you were to have that solid roof, that would kind of start covering a little bit of that jutted out of where
Jutted
the
out
stairs are.
section.
Yeah.
So it just kind of helps me give a little
Yes.
visual of like, that's where the roof cuts, and then the rest of that pool.
Right.
Like 95% of your pool is open.
Yes.
No
Yes.
roof. It's,
Will stay
it's
just
kind of cutting that. And you were proposing to have the roof line kind of extend, keeping with the
Keeping with the-
existing
the-
roof
yes.
line. But it's, you have kind of two different roof lines happening here. You have on, looks like the little addition part of it.
Yes. That's the back, it's not an addition, it was part of the original house. That's a back
Oh, that's a
bedroom.
bathroom.
And a bathroom. And we have our contractor here, he can explain how he can fit all this together
Right.
visually.
Okay. Questions for the applicant? I just butted in, sorry about that.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That's what it's about, isn't it?
Were you finished with your presentation?
I think so.
Okay.
I said she stole out of my thunder.
Do any of the other board members have any questions for the applicant? Okay, I do. I have a question.
Yeah, I have a question. So, and I don't even know why this is relevant. I guess it's more curiosity than anything, but the way that there's a 18-foot jump to where the screened area, is there going to be a differential between where the hard roof is and where the screened area is? Is there going to be a 2-foot set out for your screened area?
Yes.
That's the intent?
Yep.
And then just because I'm visual, it looks like the roof line is going to fall in suit with whatever that kind of beam is that's currently supporting your screened area. Is that what that is going to look like? It's essentially going to follow the line that's
Follow
on the
the
bird
line.
cage already?
Yes.
Okay.
We want it to look seamless and as part of the house.
And the roof will be flush with the larger of those two gables. Is that the intent?
Right. Yes.
Correct.
How's the contractor? Yes.
I think that answered my question. Anybody else?
Yeah, that was my question, I couldn't get the words to, thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you for your presentation. At this time, whoops. All right, you may be seated, thank you. At this time, I'd like to call for any public comment. So if there's anyone here who, from the public who wants to make a statement or comment, now's your time. Make your way to the podium. And then when you get to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. And when you're finished making your comments, you may then be seated after you're done.
Okay. Daniel Roth, 778 North Lake Boulevard, Tarpon Springs. I'm the general contractor that is going to be doing the project. I'm also a resident in the neighborhood. We got a variance for almost the identical thing about 22 years ago. When Pioneer Development was building the neighborhood, we put a similar addition on our own home, got a variance for it while Pioneer was still the declarant. What we're going to do there is the roof line in the back of the house, the taller roof line, not the one on the smaller part going out, but the roof line that you see there, that's going to extend all the way out. The roof line on the smaller portion will come up, rise up to meet that, so it'll just be one gable end out in the end.
So you won't have a roof
Hopefully I'm
under a
describing
roof.
it right to you.
Yeah, so you won't end up having a roof under a roof, if you will. That's taking care of the little one.
No, it'll be one big roof
Right.
back there. You won't actually see two roofs back there anymore. You just see one.
Okay.
Do you have any other comments?
No,
Okay,
That's it.
thank you. You may be seated. Are there any other public comments? Okay, when you get to the podium, please state your name and address for the record, and then when you're finished, you may be seated afterwards.
David Daniels, 740 Salt Lake Drive, Tarpon Springs. There's been some talk that no variances were allowed in the area out there. I live directly across the street from their house. 15 years ago, I had an addition added to my house. I was actually asking for 12 feet, and the committee said it would be okay, but I needed the signature of all the people around the lake there. I got almost all of them, and since I didn't get all of them, they wouldn't give me the variance. But they did give me a smaller variance without any problems. So I just wanted to verify that there was a variance given.
Okay. All right, thank you. Other public comments? Again, when you get to the podium, please state your name and address for the record, and then when you're finished, you may sit down.
Linda Farrell, 1242 Paradise Lake Drive. I've lived at my residence for 25 years, and I've served on the board, the HOA board, in several capacities. I'm currently on the Architectural Review Board. And while I'm speaking on that, so I remember, they have never approached the board, our board, for any advice, no less an application to do this. And they have not spoken to to my knowledge, and we're in close contact with the old and new management companies. This has been directly sent to the city for approval and gone over the heads of our Architectural Review Board and the Board of Directors. There have been several requests over the years, and they have all been denied for variances, including Mr. Daniels. Excuse me. Thank you.
Just let her make her public comments.
I believe this violates our HOA covenants and proper review process by not coming to us first. Many residents and board members strongly oppose this request. Granting it would set a precedence for future variances. We are a community of 122 houses, many of them bordering on either the lake or preserves or reserve area. I don't even know what without houses behind them with the reserve area. And views are very important, and even though this is just a roof, he can, inside his structure, he could be building his hot tub up from the ground. I mean, nobody's saying what he's going to be doing inside this structure. So he may not be putting walls on it, but he could be putting big stoves and things that are 6 foot high inside there, and that would obstruct views. And therefore, I believe that this request should be denied, as were all the previous. And thank you for your time and your consideration.
Okay, thank you. You may be seated. Are there any other public comments at this time?
I wasn't sworn in, but I'd like to make one comment.
You can only make a comment if you're sworn in. Can you still swear her in, or is it too late?
Would you like to be sworn in?
Yeah.
Okay. Could you please stand up? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in these proceedings this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. One of the letters
Ma'am, if you can go to the
Just
podium.
go ahead to the podium, and then when you get to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Karen Roth, 778 North Lake Boulevard, Tarpon Springs, Florida. One of the addresses in the letter that you received is this gentleman's, where they said that he didn't get the variance. He not only got the variance, but he put in a bathroom and he put in a mother-in-law suite. And he's on the pond. So none of those views were obstructed. There's aerials clearly showing that nothing is going to be obstructed here. On that same pond, there was another person that did the exact same thing, put a hot tub in and put a vinyl roof in. We also got almost the exact same variance, and we're on 778. It is an outdoor kitchen that is being put in, and it is if they still decide to put their hot tub in, but so that they have enough room for that if they still decide to do that. But basically, it is for their outdoor kitchen and to have a roof over it so that when it rains, they don't have to run in.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any more public comments? City attorney, the lady who spoke previously is raising her hand, but I think we do have time limits, right?
If you would like, ma'am.
The one that,
Can we limit this to like 2 minutes?
I believe it's
a minute, not
yeah,
less.
as long as
Okay,
it's
the variance that
brief.
she just spoke of in her own personal house, that is not, there's a stone wall behind her. It doesn't affect anybody else. So she got her variance, and that has nothing to do with any of these other situations. So that is not applicable. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, I don't think there's anybody else to talk. So at this time, I'd like to bring the item back to the board. Thank you for all the public comments. We appreciate, you coming and talking. Does the board have any comments or discussion?
I don't. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Mr. Wood.
Ally, can you bring up the other map with the measurements for me real quick? So you see the irregularity, like at the one section it is 27 feet, is that what I'm seeing?
Yes, the backside of the home is 27 feet, and just for clarification, that's this portion here.
Okay.
So if I may, just want to make sure that, us as a board, we understand everything that's been presented to us. First, the attorney stated to us today that if we were to approve this, it still would have to go through the community HOA, who then has the right to approve or deny or make other provisions. We are simply looking at the variance for the setback. So this is one of many steps. Am I correct?
Right, this would be essentially, I believe somebody alluded to it earlier, essentially a threshold issue before they go to the HOA, if the HOA's rules apply. But
Because of
this
the
is separate
HOA's
issues.
of the opinion, from what we have learned, that if we were to say no, it's a moot point, it dies.
Right.
Okay. And as we know from previous applications, this is, of course, one of many steps. It's us, it's HOA, then planning and zoning. Whatever they do after that is it still has to be, all the construction has to be approved. There's the permitting. If in the future there's issues of inappropriate structures or ancillary things, that becomes a code enforcement issue. So getting a roof does not mean everything under the roof from here to eternity is out of following any other rules. Yes, correct on that? Okay.
Yes.
Any other discussion?
Sure, if I may.
Yes, Ms. Feeks?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I want to kind of echo your comment, Jackie, about, conflating the HOA with the land development code and what it is that we're doing. As the attorney said, the HOA will likely, depending on what their rules are, have standing in a different venue for whatever that might be. Is that accurate, sir?
I'm sorry, say.
The HOA would have standing in a different venue if their rules agree to it.
Exactly,
Related with this, correct?
it's their own set of proceedings.
Perfect. The other thing is that since it was mentioned in some of the literature that we have here regarding the obstruction to the view, I wanted to highlight the specific language where it talks about significantly diminishing property values and understanding what significantly diminishing property values is as it pertains to a view as it was brought up. And then the other thing that I guess it's more of a statement than a question, but as it relates to the outdoor area and what is or isn't stored outside of a house, I don't know what the covenant says in the HOA, but that's also nothing that's covered by anything that we're presiding over as far as if they wanted to put, 10 feet of garbage bags outside of their back door. It is what it is. And I think that understanding that the limitation for future use is definitely something that we need to consider, but outside of the rest of that, barring anybody else's statements, I'll make a motion for approval.
No, we're not there yet.
Oh, we're not?
Nope.
Roger that.
Okay, your comments are done?
I am done.
Anyone else have comments? Okay, I do have some comments. So the areas that we're looking at is about 2 feet over the line where you would not need a variance in half of it, and then 4 feet for the other half. Can you go to the slide that has the picture of the property, the one with the trees as well?
This
Yes.
one or
So subject property.
Is there one closer?
Yep, that,
Or the one closer?
Yeah,
the
actually, if you have the bigger one, that would be better.
This one?
Yeah, that one right there. Okay, so I wanted to address the view issue. And in my opinion, you know, when you buy a property, you're buying a view. The property next door has trees in the front of it, so they don't have a view of the lake at all. To the bottom, the property to the top, kind of the same thing. So I personally don't see how this roof structure is going to diminish anybody's view of the lake. And if I had a house on a lake, I'd want the view because that's why I bought the house. But I don't see that effect. I don't see that having the effect there. And I see that we're pretty close to. It's not like it's 50 feet over the line, or it's a pretty close tolerance there. And I think that it's not that far. Also, in addition, the 5 standards that we go by, I've been looking at these, and it looks like the 5 standards have been met, 3 of them clearly. I think the city would agree with that, and then 2 were provisionals. I think that we have, that this situation meets all those 5. I think that we have satisfied the 5 standards that we have to go by. And this is, when we make a decision, this is more of a statement and kind of like for the record, but when we make a decision, we have rules that we have to follow that are not emotional rules. These are rules and guidelines to help us make decisions about people's property. When you buy a property, it's your property, and you want to be able to use your property the way you want to use it, as long as you're not hurting somebody else. And I think to maybe alleviate some of the fears I heard tonight of maybe some future situations, this board is tasked on a case-by-case basis. So there is no real precedent for us. Each case that comes before us is decided on the merits of the information that's presented to us in this packet. We don't go out to see the property. We don't poll neighbors. We don't inspect the property. We don't, it's our decision is based upon what you heard and saw here tonight. That's it. We can't use any other information. And each one is case by case. So if another one came tomorrow and it was very similar but didn't fit these rules or guidelines, that would be a different decision. Okay, so since I've made some comments, or anybody on the board that want to make any additional comments? Okay. So at this time, I will close the board comments session, and I will ask for a motion on this item from the board. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for approval.
Do I have a second?
I will second, but with
The caveat.
a condition.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we may amend your motion to say that we approve with the condition that the area under the solid roof may not be altered to form enclosed or conditioned living space unless the North Lake RPD minimum setbacks are met.
I am agreeable.
Okay. So second? So then,
I made the motion.
did you make the second?
Well,
Based upon?
Then I'll second it. However we need.
There we go.
Yes, I concur with your adjustment too.
Okay, so
For
we've had a motion.
clarification, so Jackie made the motion for approval with staff's recommended condition, and Mr. Fuchs made the second.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, so for clarification.
Amended motion.
Amended motion.
The motion was made.
Amended motion and then second by Mr. Fuchs.
Motion had been clarified and adjusted to include the city's recommendation of additional wording and rules that they would have to follow, and then it was second again. So now we need Madam Secretary to do a roll call of the board.
Mr. Fuchs?
Approve.
Mr. Wood,
Approved.
Ms. Turner,
Approve.
and Mr. Grossman.
Approve. All right, congratulations, your application request has been approved. All right, now for other board,
Attorney?
we have agenda to approve minutes.
She had requested to speak again about public comments. But she's, I think Ms. Keene's addressing it.
Okay.
You're good.
You're good. Ms. King.
Okay. Is there official proceedings going on here, or?
No, there was a request for additional public comment, but then.
That's closed. Public comments are
Right,
closed.
we're good to go.
Okay.
Move forward, thank you.
All right, so moving on to the next item. You guys are done? Yes, congratulations, okay. It has been approved. All right, so next item on the agenda is to approve minutes from the last meeting, and they're substantial. Do I have a motion? I guess we want to do this as a block of them altogether, or do you want to
Is
do
it
each one?
just one meeting's worth of agenda of?
Oh, yes, it is one meeting, it's just right there.
I'll make a motion to approve the September meeting minutes.
All right, do I have a second?
I will.
Mr. Wood, second, as Madam Secretary.
And Mr. Fuchs,
Approve.
Mr. Wood,
Approve.
Mr. Turner,
Approve.
Miss Turner, I apologize.
That's okay.
Mr. Grossman.
Approve. Okay, so now next item on the agenda is staff comments. Ask the staff, have any comments or announcements?
I do. I have a few. First and foremost, I want to introduce you all to Chloe Siegfried. She is our new executive assistant in the Planning and Zoning Department. She comes to us from Public Works, and we are very excited to have her here. She worked for Public Works for 2-3 years.
About a year and a half.
I lied. It seems like she's been here forever, a year and a half. But we're really happy to have her here. She's picking up super quickly, and I think she's doing a great job. So we're excited to have her on board.
Oh, welcome, Chloe. Good luck.
All right, and then I have a couple more things. I also provided to you guys tonight a flyer for a community engagement session we're having tomorrow evening if you guys are interested in attending. This is our second workshop for the Place to Be Downtown Master Plan. Downtown Master Plan. This is something that essentially is going to provide some recommendations for updates to the SMART code, which sometimes you guys get to deal with when it comes to variances. So if you guys are interested, we'd love to see you. It's tomorrow from 6 to 8 p.m. at the community center. And it's a short presentation followed by just some interactive activities, so it's not the entire duration. And then lastly, I know that I polled you guys like a long time ago about who would like to receive paper printed packets and who would not. I have now forgotten that except for Miss Rich. So I was wondering if you guys could let me know who all would like me to still print them a packet and leave it up front. Anyone here?
I'm good.
No paper.
Okay, great. I will just continue to print them for Ms. Rich, and that is excellent.
Okay, thank
That's all I have. Thank you.
Ms. King, do we have anything on the next month's docket?
We do have one item on the agenda next month, and I believe that Ms. McNeese is going to handle that one.
Oh.
So, surprise.
And do we have a date for that? Because that's right around Thanksgiving,
I
right?
believe it's November 19th. I'll look at it and I'll verify that.
Probably, yeah, I think
It is
that
November 19th.
19th, so it's the week before Thanksgiving then.
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
it was
that
pushed
makes sense.
earlier because of Thanksgiving.
The week-
Yeah, November 19th.
The week before Thanksgiving? Okay.
Correct.
And then does the board, anybody on the board have any comments or announcements?
No, just welcome Chloe.
Thank you.
Okay, no other comments. At this time, I am adjourning the meeting this evening. It's 7:24 p.m., and the meeting is now adjourned.